meth or heroin. I mean, it's like there's so much information out there of how fucked up these are and the chemicals that are in it and so forth. I just don't understand people trying it because it's so bad.
Yeah, we run a search warrant. We had assisted U.S. Marshals on a felony warrant one time on a guy that was trafficking. He was actually for a marijuana trafficking case, and marshals were serving the warrant, and we located him. He was living. I was in Bradley County. He was living in the middle of the woods, so we slip up out there, and they want to hit him, like at 3 o'clock in the morning when he's good and asleep. And uh, my agents and I, we trained for, entry and search warrant stuff. So we're going to be the approach team, slip up there and secure the house. And then the marshals will come up there and kick the door. And as we slip up there, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. This guy's out in his garage painting his car with a paintbrush.
Yep. Oh,
So just because he's run out of stuff to do, so he's
yeah, the number of yards that got cut in the middle of the night, or
yeah,
engines that were taken apart and cleaned for no reason. Hey, let me ask you this, Brent: how much porn did you find on search warrants around meth labs?
It was only a meth lab if it had porn, Indian artifacts, and a dream catcher hanging on the wall. A blue funnel, funnel.
A blue funnel, yeah. And
Yep.
I mean, and literally, this is, it's funny to say, but I cannot tell you how much porn you would find on these and sex toys. I'm talking,
Yeah.
And just so we're talking, these guys, men and women or whatever, they're awake for hours or days on end, and they are so fidgety, and you find like 300 cell phone chargers or cell phones that are taken apart and all in a drawer together. But guys that literally work on sex toys, like you would find a whole drawer of them, they're taking them apart. And I'm dead ass serious.
I'm gonna figure out how this works. That thing's spinning on the end.
Yep.
He, I had a guy that turned out to be an informant for me, and is doing really good in life now. But when the first time that we arrested him, he said, there was one time about a month ago. He said, I knew y'all had those listening devices in my house. And he said, I took all the paneling out of the house, and then I tore all the sheetrock out. He said, and I could never find them. He said, I'm curious if you'd tell me what they were. Of course, we didn't have anything in his house.
Of course, yeah.
Paranoid. And I said, well, I can't tell you what those things are. He said, well, I understand. He said, but something else that really bothered me. He said, when y'all were laying out there in the backyard and I was shooting at y'all, he said, I didn't get
shit.
He said, I didn't get close to anybody, did I? And I said, no, you didn't. I said, but
you're good, buddy.
I said, did we shoot back? He's like, no. I said, well, we probably wasn't there. And
yeah.
He's like, no, I know you were there. I know you were there.
You're like, buddy, you're still alive here talking to us. We were not out there.
Yeah, man, we weren't there.
Yeah, Brent, that's another thing is I always said it, man, the tweakers, back in the day, man, just incidents like that you're talking about. They were the dudes that scared me. Seriously, like gangsters, guys that are doing robberies and shooting one another and typically responsible for the homicides here in Tulsa. Those guys don't scare me.
Yeah.
But it was guys that were on dope.
Because they were completely unpredictable.
Absolutely.
You didn't have a clue. And
no clue.
You didn't have a clue what they were doing, but they didn't have a clue what they were going to do.
Yep.
I mean, just from one minute to the next. And those guys, I've seen them be up for. We had a guy, this guy in particular, on that case when he was telling me that information. That dude was up like 3 days. Yeah. I don't know how long he'd been up before we got a hold of him and got him in an undercover apartment that we had to try to dry him out. But he was up for 3 days, after we got him, before we could finally lay down and go to sleep. So I mean, I don't see how those folks, how they do it, how they last long. And a lot of them don't, but that guy thankfully got his life squared away, and he and another one have actually been, did well. And it was worth going all through it to get those folks squared away. So
absolutely. Yeah. So just, obviously the people that watch this on YouTube or here on the channel, they get to see your handsome face. And for those that are listening on other platforms,
he's got more gray in his beard than I do.
We're rocking a nice little gray beard. We got some glasses similar to Howard's. It's almost like Howard and looking at himself in a mirror here.
We probably are kin.
Yeah.
Could be. It is Arkansas,
Eskimo brothers.
That's it. right, maybe. Um, he's rocking some coveralls. You call them overalls or coveralls? What do you call them?
Yeah, here in America we call these overalls.
Overalls. Okay,
Yeah.
overalls. Yeah, little and his gray T-shirt. So you've done undercover work yourself.
Hmm.
Kind of, like as you talked about, kind of the back end of your career now. So, man, what's some of the stuff you've gotten involved with? You yourself doing undercover, because it's a lost art. Most cops just manage informants. They themselves don't do much undercover work.
Yeah. And I did, I did that too. One of the, when I was imagining informant, I'll tell you a story about this, and then I'll tell you one about one that I did myself. But it applies to why people sell dope. They get addicted, and in the dope game, they're either addicted to the dope or they're addicted to the money. But both of them will always, eventually bite you in the hind end before it's over with. And we had
Mm-hmm.
a guy that we were had targeted and was trying to run informants on there and trying to run informants on him and just could never get in there. We couldn't get anybody to introduce one of us to get to him. And finally, man, we had a guy that had been an informant before I even started to work as a police officer. This guy had been a snitch for a long time. And he occasionally could be able to buy from this guy. So we wired him up and sent him up there, and he goes up and knocks on the door, and the target comes to the door, which was, a freak accident. Normally it's one of his minions that comes to the door. And he comes to the door and he says, he talks to the informant, calls him by name. He says, I know you working for the police. And the informant pulls $100 bill out of his pocket. And in the next breath, he says, but I see you got that money in your hand. So I'm going to go ahead and sell to you. So his addiction obviously was to the money and
Yep.
not the dope.
Yep.
And of course, he wound up going to prison over it. But it never, there was a steady stream of traffic in and out there. It wasn't like this guy was losing money, but he could not let $100 walk away and was going to risk, knowing that guy had been an informant in the past. He just had to risk it to get that $100. But
And what
one
was
of
the
my
end result for
favorites.
that guy?
Oh, that guy, man, we had so many cases on him. He took a plea for like 30 years.
Jeez.
He
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
he was going to get the hammer.
Did he end
If
up going to Cummins?
Yeah, I'm sure he did. They usually everybody goes there at some point. They call that gladiator school over there now. That's where a lot of the young offenders go, and it's pretty well free for all over there. But another guy that I worked this guy hand to hand, and he had come up in the information, and I was down in El Dorado. I was living in El Dorado at that time, which is on the border of Arkansas and Louisiana. And this guy, we knew who he was, but didn't have a name for him. And he was moving meth everywhere, and just everywhere they always come up with this crazy name for this guy, and I can't remember what the nickname was, but old Bingo over here, he's the guy, he's the man, he's the one that's selling the good stuff. And I finally found somebody to introduce me to him. And after about the third meeting, he agreed to sell me some, but he's still not giving me his name. And this goes on. I start having a weekly meeting with him, and I'm spending $100, $200, $500, $700, and I'm buying some weight off of him, and he still's not telling me his name. And I'm drive up my undercover truck is an old work truck, and it's got tools and stuff all in the back of it. And I roll up there one day, and this guy's name, he meets me and he goes, man, what kind of work you do? I never asked you what kind of work you do. I said, well, I run a construction job. I said, we're working out here west of town. There was a job going west of town out there. And I said, I'm working, doing some subcontracting out here with this tree planting stuff. He said, you ever need welders? And I thought, well, that's a crazy question. Why would you ask me that? And I said, yeah, I can use a welder. You know somebody needs a job? He said, man, I do. I weld. He said, I can weld a gnat's ass to a window pane. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, man, we're short a welder right now. I said, I'll bring you an application. Are you interested in going to work? He said, I'd love to. So I said, look, I'll be back next Thursday, regular time. I'll bring it with me, meet you right here. I want my standard order, and I'll bring you the application. He's like, fire, man, fire. So I'll go back to the office and type up an application. And
Microsoft Word is such a beauty.
Yeah, I meet him back the next week and I hand him a pen. He fills out everything I need for the search warrant. It's his social security number, name, address, a whole ball of wax.
Yeah, hey, buddy,
like,
part of this application process, we just need a picture, and I need your fingerprint so we know what you want.
Yeah. Do you mind taking a pee test? So we go back, man. That's one of the funniest things I ever did.
Easiest case to handle, huh?
Yeah, the prosecutor was just chomping on us. Y'all got to find out who this clown is. You got to find out who he is. And he was just one step ahead, but we got him finally.